Good morning. My name is Sujit Dike. I'm the CEO of Gyder Surgical. It's a pleasure to be back here at LSI. Gyder has developed the world's first commercially available, non-invasive and imageless technology for improving surgical accuracy during total hip replacement. We are raising $3.5 million to commercialize both in US and Australia. In the last 12 months since my last presentation at LSI, we have made significant progress. We have received FDA clearance in January of this year. Prior to that, we have received Australia's TGA approval. We have already performed surgical cases successfully in India and Australia, collected additional clinical evidence with specially designed products that are targeting obese patients, and it demonstrates reproducible accuracy. We are building upon a large portfolio of patents that are already granted and approved in most major markets. And while we are starting with our first indication for anterior hip surgery, the technology has potential to be applied for other orthopedic applications. The 3.5 we are raising will be primarily focused on soft launch in US and Australia, including a small post-market study. It will also progress and advance our second indication, which will be for posterior hip application. We have a strong management team in place. We just hired Dennis Gassel as our Chief Commercial Officer. He used to be the former VP of Sales and Marketing for DePuy Synthes Orthopedics, a top 3 orthopedics player globally. I come from a significant experience in J&J and Synthes in orthopedics and medical device commercial leadership. We have Nick Puchuda, who's a former surgeon, as well as significant M&A and licensing experience. And for example, in our board, Chris Wills, who is the founding CFO of Sonic Healthcare, one of the largest healthcare companies from Australia. Now, hip surgery is perceived to be a highly successful surgery. Unfortunately, the problem is the vast majority of surgeons currently do not use any technology when they're placing the hip prosthesis into the hip socket, often missing target angles, leading to post-surgery complications. For example, one of the complications can be dislocation where the entire prosthesis comes out. So imagine a tire that is misaligned, and at some point the wheels are going to come off. That's a problem with misaligned cups. Just in US alone, with 700,000 procedures done annually, it costs $2 billion to fix these issues through revision surgeries. So it's a significant burden to the health system, and globally, it's a major problem and growing problem. Current existing navigation and robotic technologies have not been widely adopted, mainly because they all use some combination of metallic pins that are inserted into the pelvis, leading to patient complications and a complex workflow. And they use some combination of imaging technology or optical cameras or something else, which again adds significant time to the procedure, requires significant training. For example, in the case of robotics, it's several months of training, and often requires a dedicated specialist in the OR to support the product, especially in robotics. All of this has led to barriers to adoption, and they all have large footprint and are very expensive, often costing about $1 million upfront capital purchase. Gyder has been designed to eliminate all these barriers. So we have eliminated the use of metallic pins completely. It does not rely on any imaging, preoperative or intraoperative imaging. And you can see it has a small footprint. This is pretty much the entire device. So the way this product works, the surgeon actually proceeds to use their normal workflow. At the start of the procedure, the surgeon is inputting the target angles that they want for that particular patient. And then just before implanting the acetabular cup into the hip, the Gyder system is placed on the patient using standard anatomical landmarks. And with the press of a button, it captures the anatomical reference plane. And then the navigation unit, the display unit, is transferred to a standard instrument called the impactor that is used to place the cup in. The surgeon then aligns the angle of the impactor, and when it is aligned with the target, there's a very intuitive display, and the surgeon just hammers it in. So you can see it's a very straightforward, simple workflow. We have collected a lot of evidence across a wide range of patient profiles with more than 10 surgeons, including fellows who are barely coming out of their fellowship and going into independent practice to JEDIs, and the performance is very consistent. And also, we have done this now over a wide range of hip-to-waist ratios, BMI, different target range angles with very consistent performance. So for example, the device is very similar, accurate, and it's not impacted by obesity. So BMI and waist-hip ratio being examples of proxies for obesity. Additionally, and this is, we believe, a very differentiating factor for the product, it barely takes a minute to 2 minutes to use this product in surgery. This is a massive reduction and an increase in efficiency compared to competitive systems. We have also been very successful in training surgeons and OR staff in 1 to 2 hours on site, and they're up and running using the product. And this also leads to a very efficient, low cost to serve model in supporting this product commercially. We have already performed surgeries in US and Australia with very consistent feedback, and all our value proposition has been validated through these surgeries. We have a design-driven COGS advantage, which allows us to have a flexible pricing model, so we can afford to place the instruments and the main equipment at no cost and still have significant gross margins at a very competitive price point. This is very attractive to ASCs, to both high volume and low volume surgeons, community hospitals that are not being served by current technology, and also makes it very attractive for strategics for a future potential acquisition. It is a large market that we are targeting. The hip market is about close to $2 billion and growing because of aging demographics. We are starting with US and Australia, but we have plans to go into EU and Japan next. And we are progressing very rapidly with a very well-defined regulatory pathway now that we have clearance both in US and Australia. We are targeting the fastest growing segments of the hip market, anterior approach, which is already more than 50% of all hip surgeries in the US and growing twice the rate of posterior approach, and outpatient centers. Almost every surgeon is thinking of moving their practice or already started practicing in outpatient centers. And this low footprint, super fast, and highly efficient device is something that is very appealing. So for example, at last week's AAOS, the largest orthopedic conference, we got very positive feedback both from surgeons and distributors, and we're looking to do a soft launch, and we'll be announcing distributor partnerships shortly. We continue to build our roster of advisors, including surgeons from marquee institutions like Stanford, Mayo Clinic, and Mayo Fellows, and Geisinger. And we already have our manufacturing partners in place, and we are in production mode. We have also been very capital efficient. Till date, we have raised about $6 million, and with that, we have achieved regulatory approvals in 2 major markets, already performed surgeries, and progressed our second indication. So with 3.5, we'll be doing a soft launch and progressing our second indication, and we plan to do a future raise of $15 million that will get us to profitability within the next 3 years. The use of funds mostly focused on, again, expanding our commercial team to support our soft launch, as well as progress our second indication. And just to close it out, this is a large and attractive market. Hip surgeries and orthopedics in general are growing because of aging demographics. Our unit economics are very attractive. It's a straightforward value proposition, highly differentiated product, the only product that is pinless and imageless in the marketplace. Very well-defined and easy, relatively easy regulatory pathways to enter multiple markets simultaneously, a strong management board, and backed by a strong foundation of IP in the marketplace. So if you are interested in learning more about our product and our current raise, let me know. We already have indicated commitment from insiders that are putting us already halfway through our raise, and we're looking to close the balance. Thank you for your time.